Hey there. Welcome into a Water Break Wednesday presented by Crown Royal. My name is Drew Dougherty, and I'm so very happy to be with you because we want to hear from you. We want your questions. We're going to do our best to answer as many as we can. And I'm so happy to be with Deepi Sidhu, my good friend from HoustonTexans.com and Texans Radio and Texans TV and all over the place. How are you, Deepi?
I'm good. I forgot to wear my rain jacket today. I didn't know we were doing Water Break Wednesday in our rain jackets. I have mine. It's hanging up in the corner.
I had it's kind of like a weird shirt when it shows up on camera. It's a red and white, really thin striped shirt. It just doesn't look, it's unbecoming of my complexion, because I'm pale and ruddy and shiny sometimes. So this makes it look less pale and ruddy and shiny. Anyhow,
I thought you were just ready for the rain outside. So it's cool.
Always
we'll match
ready.
next time.
I beat it inside today, thankfully. But hey, we're not here to talk about the rain or Milli Vanilli or any of that other stuff. We want your questions about the Houston Texans. Deepi, we just heard earlier from David Culley, and there's still some question as to whether or not Tyrod Taylor actually starts on Sunday. He said he's going to practice today, but Davis Mills is going to get the first team reps because the Texans want to see where Tyrod is. But he also said Tyrod doesn't need a lot of reps to be able to start. So maybe we're inching closer to Tyrod Taylor starting. We've heard reports that it's going to happen, but nothing definite yet, Deepi.
Yeah, I mean, this opens up the 21-day practice window for Tyrod Taylor with him returning to practice off IR. So a little bit of news from David Culley that he's not going to take the first team reps, but he will be out there for practice. I'd be curious to see, Drew, after today, what they do with the practice tomorrow. Do they continue to let Davis Mills take first team reps, or do they feel like Tyrod Taylor looks good enough to go? I think the concern is that if they give Tyrod Taylor first team reps and he's not ready to go, Davis Mills could have used those reps in practice. But will they know after a day of practice if Tyrod is ready to go, or will that be something they determine on Friday as we head into the weekend? Certainly, you'd like to see Tyrod Taylor out there with the ones getting his reps in. So I don't really know what to make of it, Drew. I don't know if it's a 50-50 chance or if it's a better than 50-50 chance. I think we got to just wait for the week to sort of play itself out, see how Tyrod does in practice today to see whether or not he gets a start against the Rams on Sunday.
Yeah, for sure. And Joshua has a good question. It's one that many of you are asking, and we're asking as well. What's the status on the Deshaun Watson trade? Well, there is no the Deshaun Watson trade. There have been reports of one, but here's what we know for certain. He's still on the 53-man roster for the Texans. He still is not at practices. He does not get activated on game day. And he's in the building and around, but just not doing those things. So he's still a member of the team, and that's about as far as we can really go with everything. You do know this, Tuesday is the trade deadline for the NFL. So if something happens, it would likely happen, that day or before. But I think more likely, if you had to set an over-under on things, I think you're going to see the Texans make a couple of deals, whether it involves him or not, but make a couple of deals before that trade deadline comes due. Don't you, Deepi?
Yeah, I mean, I think as far as Deshaun Watson's concerned, it's not really, there's nothing really new that's happened inside the building. I mean, of course, we've all seen the rumors, we've seen Twitter, but nothing has really happened that's new, other than the fact that, like you're saying, the trade deadline's on Tuesday. And as it approaches, obviously, the talks are heating up again. The talk on Twitter, maybe the talks between teams are heating up as well. But it's really quiet when you're inside the building because, I mean, as far as this team is concerned, they're practicing every day. They're getting ready for the Rams. Deshaun Watson is the same as the situation's not changed from training camp where he's in the building, like you're saying, but he's not really taking part in anything. I think as we get closer to Tuesday, we'll know one way or another. And if not, then you got to wait till after the season ends and to see how trades shake out. But obviously the talk is heating up. I'll be curious myself to see. I think you're right, Drew. We may see other players being traded. Nothing will surprise me anymore working in the NFL because if anything can happen and things can happen given a moment's notice. I know that the trade talks have been going on for a while, talk of a trade, but as far as other players go, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see anything happen right now. But I mean, we really won't know until closer to Tuesday.
Yeah, it's a good answer. And it kind of answers what Alex was asking. What roster moves are you expecting before the trade deadline? I probably think you'll see a couple deals go down and maybe a cut, a signing of, some guys at near the bottom end of the roster as well, or two or three or more cut signings. Joel asked who's going to be the starting quarterback this week. I think we answered that with sounds like Tyrod, but it's not certain because he's not getting, the first team reps today, but he is practicing today. And then Steve has a good question. What do you expect to see from the Texans offense this week? Well, again, it goes back to who's under center. If Tyrod Taylor's under center, I think you're going to see a little bit more creativity. I think you're going to see a little bit more effectiveness. I think you'll see him spreading it around and going deeper and doing some plays that are sort of off script. So it was fun while he was in there for those 3 halves of football at the start of the season. He was magnificent if you look at the stats. And the Texans won their first game and were winning the second game that he was playing in the start of the first half. So I think the offense will look better is just the basic answer if he's in.
Yeah, I asked David Culley about Brandon Cooks because obviously this is his former team. He played 2 seasons with the Rams, and even though last week was a bit of an anomaly for Brandon Cooks, he only had like 20-some receiving yards. He's been spectacular no matter who's under center, and he currently is tied for the lead with third down receptions. So David Culley says they want to get Brandon Cooks more involved in the offense again because when he's on the field on third down, that's what extends the drives. I mean, he's the go-to guy for either quarterback. So I think they try to get the receivers mixed into the offense again. I mean, obviously they play much better at home than they do on the road. Even Davis Mills, he's had some rough goes here on the road, but at home, he's got 4 touchdowns and no interceptions in his home games. So if he does start, they're going to try to get the offense moving, get the chains moving, like David Culley said. And if it's Tyrod Taylor, same thing. They want to get Brandon Cooks more involved. It's a little bit of a rematch, revenge game for Cooks, so I think we'll see a lot more of him. And I think they, like you're saying, Drew, they just want to get the creativity in the offense clicking again. They just need to do what it takes to sustain drives. And, of course, the penalties. I mean, they need that has been just one of the thorn in Culley's side all offseason is the penalties. I mean, just when you think they've improved a little bit, they come back. And it affected 6 of their 12 offensive drives at Arizona. And that's huge. That's half of your drives affected by penalties. So I would like to see them, and I think they would like to see those penalties cleaned up. And I think they want to see the offense moving the chains again because a lot of those drives ended in penalties or were thwarted because of penalties. So I'm with everything what you said, Drew, as far as creativity. I'd like to see more of those wild Ingrams and misdirections and some flea flickers. How about some of those to sort of get the offense going and fired up again?
Flea flickers are fun when they work. Brian has this. Any chance we will see Scotty Phillips this week? You know, I would think no. I don't think it's this week, but I do think you're getting closer and closer and closer to actually seeing it happen and actually seeing him get activated. He's the 5th running back, and they activate 4 on game day. But I just think with the laws of attrition, I think one of these guys is probably going to get banged up at some point, and you won't be able to use him. And I think in comes Scotty Phillips. David Culley is confident, he says, in Phillips and said he's ready, but he's just the odd man out right now. But yeah, I based off what we saw in the preseason, you do kind of want to see, hey, can he do that in the regular season and make something happen? So I understand the question, will Scotty Phillips play this week? I don't think so, but I do think the time is coming somewhere in the near future.
I don't even know if it'll be a big announcement when Scotty Phillips plays. You know, like we see the inactives list on Sunday.
On a noon game day, yeah.
We will know about 90 minutes before kickoff if Scotty Phillips is playing. Yeah. I think it's going to be one of those deals. David Culley was asked about him earlier in the week, and he said, we're going to keep things the way that they are. So I think unless they see something in practice that make them want to elevate Scotty Phillips. I mean, I know there's a lot of excitement and a lot of intrigue around him because of what he did in the preseason, sure. But I think it's going to be one of those things where he quietly slips into the lineup and then you see him on Sunday. Unless someone is banged up, I just don't see it being a big to-do. But yeah, I'm with you, Drew. I don't know if it's this week. It just didn't sound, if I translate what Culley said earlier in the week, didn't sound like it was going to be this week, unless something changes. All
right, we're going to wrap things up. But before we do, we want to remind folks about Texans Extra Points Saturday night, ABC 13 KTRK. It's on at 10:35. I'm on with Sean Pendergast for that one from Sports Radio 610. And then you're up right afterwards on Texans 360. We're basically kind of going underneath the helmet and trying to get you to know about our team and the players and the stuff away from the football field. So it's going to be a fun set of shows. And then for my pregame player interview, as well as a Drew's Dozen, I'm going to talk to defensive lineman DeMarcus Walker. And you have a pretty good one set up this week as well for your deep slant. don't you, Deepi?
I should be talking to Jonathan Grenard. 6 sacks,
Nice.
leads the team. He's having quite a few stretch of games here, so we'll catch up with him as well.
He's playing very well, and he's already beaten the sack total of last year's sack leader, J.J. Watt. Only had 5 in 2020, and then 2003, 2004, and 2006, he didn't have more than 5 sacks, 6 sacks those seasons too. So he's doing really well. Hoping to keep it up and hoping he can get after Matthew Stafford this weekend. Hey, we couldn't have done this, Deepi, this Crown Royal presented Water Break Wednesday without Tyler Marcotte and Amanda Caffey. So thank you to them. Thank you to you, Deepi. We will see you next week on another Water Break Wednesday.